now Israel is not just fighting for its own defense, it is fighting for the defense of the Western liberal world.
Attention is now focused on what comes next, what is going to happen to the innocent people in the Palestinian area, what's going to happen to them next. What exactly will Israel do in this next phase? We learned that Israel's deadline for 1 million Palestinians, that actually was meant to evacuate, I think it might have just been extended. It's a very, very difficult moment for the innocent Palestinians caught up there. There is expected to be a ground offensive. Where do those people go? Now, the UN has warned of a growing humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, Israel's Air Force says that it has killed Ali Khadi, the Hamas commander who led the attack on Israeli settlements last weekend. Well, let's get some thoughts now from Meir Elran, who's a former IDF Deputy Director of Military Intelligence, and he joins us now live from Tel Aviv. Meir, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Now, what do you expect next in terms of military strategy? What do you think the offensive will look like?
Well, let me first say that what's happening in the last week, and probably will go on for some time, is a horrific attack of extremist Islamist people and the movement against, not only against Israel, but against the world order at large, against Western humanity, against our values and our understanding of how to handle things. This is something that is really, as you said, horrific, horrendous, and it has to be stopped. So now Israel is not just fighting for its own defense, it is fighting for the defense of the Western liberal world. We have to understand that. And that's why I appreciate so much your kind words. You have to understand the broader picture. And this is exactly what's happening. We must eliminate Hamas. It's an evil organization, a terrorist organization that is aiming not only on Israelis, but it's also aiming on Western civilization at large. Now, having said that, I want to say we are moving ahead. The government of Israel has decided to eliminate Hamas as a machinery, to eliminate Hamas as a military power, to eliminate Hamas as a government. And we're going to do that. They are working not only against us Israelis, but they are also cruelly working against their own population, their own citizens, which have been really belittled and suffering for 17 years since Hamas came into power. They are the victims. Absolutely, they are the victims. But the factor that is actually causing them to be victims is their supposed government. And that's why we are determined to go ahead with what we have to do and what we're doing right now.
And what form do you think that is going to take, Meir? Do you think there would be boots on the ground? Is it going to be airstrikes? What do you think this is going to look like on
Well,
a
let me put
level?
it this way. I don't know the details of the plans. I don't know exactly how it will go about, but I'm sure that we will do whatever we can to do two things. Number one, to eliminate Hamas militarily and politically, and secondly, to protect the Palestinian people in Gaza from their monstrous government. This is a sacred mission for us. The two sides of the coin. It's the same coin. We have to do that, and we have to do that now. They made a huge miscalculation. They thought that they can play with us, they can hit us, they can harm us. Okay, they did. But they have to pay the consequences, and that's what's happening right now. And we definitely want to make the differentiation between the people of Gaza and the government of Gaza and the machinery of Gaza. And that's what we are doing right now.
I'm very glad you've made that point, because I was absolutely going to ask you that. That is something that, many people are asking, how do you differentiate between absolutely going after the sort of evil regime of Hamas, and how do you try and not target innocent Palestinian people? How do you do that effectively?
Well, it's definitely a very, very difficult situation. It is a dilemma, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to save the civilians by urging them to leave their homes in the northern part of Gaza and to go down to the south. Many of them have already done that and have saved their lives. I'm very glad about that. But we will try as much as we can not to harm civilians, but on the other hand, to eliminate Hamas as a machinery. This is our goal presently. This is not only the Israeli goal, it should be the goal of the entire Western liberal world.
And in terms of Gazans being able to leave the area, and as you say, you've said for people to go, it's quite difficult for them to get out because Egypt has been quite strict, saying that they don't want those people to come into their country. Where can they go? How can they move safely?
Well, you're absolutely right, and I'm sorry about the Egyptian decision. I think it is really an obstacle. There is no doubt about that. But mind you, that Israel has declared that if the Palestinians residing in the northern part of Gaza are moving down within the 24 hours allotted to that, to the southern part, they will be safe. This is something that is very, very important for them to do. Many of them are doing that right now. Good for them, and I wish for them all the best, and I'm calling for the world to support them, to supply them with the humanitarian support, which is very, very important, and we'll see what we can do about that. But as far as Hamas is concerned, this is the end of this machinery.
And in terms of, what happens next, I mean, what is going to happen and unfold over the coming days, weeks, we don't know how long this will go on for, is going to be terrible. What has happened in Israel over the last week is absolutely terrible. We're in a very, very difficult situation. Looking ahead, how do you think your country and the Israelis and Palestinian people, do you think there's any chance of any peace ever coming to that area ever again?
Well, let me put it this way. I mean, in the short run, we are in trouble, but they are in a worse trouble. That's one thing. I'm talking about Hamas. And thank you very much for raising the question about the longer future. I think that this might and should be a game changer as far as our relations with the Palestinians. Mind you, most of the Palestinians are not really identifying with Hamas. They are against Hamas. They want to get rid of Hamas. And I think that once this is over and Hamas is over, together with all its radical, barbaric allies, we will be able, together with our Arab friends and neighbors, to set up, and with the support, by the way, of the Western world, to reconstruct and to build a new frame of relationship, not only between us and the Palestinians, but for the Middle East in general. I know that this is not the right time to talk about that, but me personally, I have this hope, and I think that it is possible to transform this evil into some kind of hope for the future. And if we can do that, this will be, the best way for us to finish this saga.